Hi guys, it's me, Sarah Egar. I'm here in Amsterdam where I've lived since 2016. And as you know, I started my show Come On In with Sarah Egar a few months ago. And I thought, if I'm gonna go to other people's houses, I showed you where I grew up. Now I want you to hear our story, mine with my husband Dragon and our daughter Katarina, and to see our home. So let's go. In 2013, I was living a blissfully happy life in New York. I moved to New York in 2010 after living in Florida, and I moved there to be an actress. I'm all out of love for my old insurance, switch to insurance. 12 years later, here I am. I moved there to be an actress. I studied at the William Esper Studio for 2 full years, and then the sheer need to survive in New York got the best of me, so I got my real estate license, and I thought, well, I don't want to work in a restaurant because I'm almost 30, and I wanted to do something that was flexible enough if I wanted to do additions. So I started selling real estate, absolutely fell in love with selling real estate, and just fell in love with New York. New York is always, to me, for the rest of my life, going to be where I found my wings. If New York is where I found my feet, Amsterdam is where I really came into my own. I found myself here, a place in Europe that felt like home, but wasn't. You can't change who you are, and one thing I've learned a lot about living in Europe is that you shouldn't change who you are. Come on in!
I'm Dragon, I'm Sarah's husband. I was born in France, but my parents were from former Yugoslavia. My dad was Serbian born in Croatia, and my mom was from the Serbian Republic of Bosnia. So I met Sarah in the most random fashion. I was in New York. I had decided to take my cousin, Sanya. Her dream was to go to New York. And on the last night, we went for a drink at the Conrad Hotel in Manhattan.
I remember I was going through a breakup. I moved to New York because of a breakup, and then I was going through a more casual breakup. And I took myself on vacation to Jacksonville, Florida. And it was a little bit life-changing for me. And then I came back from Florida, and the next week I went to the Conrad Hotel in Battery Park City, and I met Dragon.
I spotted Sarah on the rooftop. She was staring away. And I told my cousin, she saw me staring at her. And she said, why don't you go up and talk to her? I said, yeah, but I don't know what to tell her. And she said, you'll figure it out on the way. And that was literally like a 15-yard walk. So I literally started walking and tried to figure out what I was gonna say. So I got there and I came up with a fairly cheesy line, which was...
Excusez-moi. I do not
I don't know who's making you wait,
but
I hope that person is worth it.
And he was like, why don't you come to Geneva? So I had said that I would love to look at the next day. I woke up and he had booked me flights to Geneva. I left 3 days later. I stayed 10 days, and in that period we got engaged. The third time we ever saw each other, we got engaged. Now this is crazy, and I don't know why I did it. Was it crazy? Yeah, it was the craziest thing I ever did, marrying Dragon that quickly. But I think I fell in love with him, and then I came to Europe, and I fell in love with this. So our house is located in Oud-Zuid. Oud-Zuid is kind of like the canal ring of Amsterdam is a U. These are the historic canals that we think about. And then there's this big park called the Vondelpark that comes out. To the west is the Oud-West, and to the east is Oud-Zuid. And I am way far down in Oud-Zuid, almost to Zuidas. As you see, I love my neighborhood, and we used to live in a busier part of the neighborhood, but this house is on this amazing canal, and this canal literally feeds my soul. Like, I can go out and paddleboard. I sit out there and have coffee or wine all the time and just read. I do yoga out on the canal. We walk Baron off leash on the loop. Like, there's a magicalness in this neighborhood because I feel completely cut off from the chaos of the city center of Amsterdam, but I'm a 10-minute bike ride in.
Is completely different. The move to the Netherlands, the pace, the lifestyle, everything's connected, everything is small. It's really, really different. Absolutely magical. I think there's an element here that is, even now, 10 years on, it still feels like there is an innocence to it. To be honest, as I'm standing here, I'm looking out and I'm looking at a canal and I can see boats, go by. And that's amazing. And I love that with Katarina, just walking there, and she runs toward me. We play all these silly games along the walk. And again, that doesn't take a big effort. It's the simplicity of it that I really love.
The last thing I want to say, which we'll talk a little bit more about as we go through the house, but especially we live in a world where we have constant news cycles and things coming at you, and I get stressed. We all get that way. And I think that's why home is so important. Making a home that you like, bringing your own Sarah-ness or whatever-ness to your home is so important, because this is where your refuge. This is your refuge.
Okay guys, so now you've heard about our story and you've seen a bit of where I live. We've been filming this episode over several months, so you're gonna see a lot of different color and weather changes. But why don't you come on in with me?
Let's go see some homes together. I'm Sarah Edgar. Come on in.
Baron! Let's do it. Okay. Hi. Come on in.
Okay, so when you first walk in, this tile in pretty much most houses in the Netherlands is original. So this is about a 130-year-old tile, maybe 105, I don't really know. So I wanted to keep this, obviously this was something I refused to touch. And I found this wallpaper because I thought, I didn't have Katarina at that point, but I thought I wanted to be fun when you walk in my house. And then last year I had extra rolls. So last year I decided to wallpaper the ceiling. This is what it's like when you live with a 4-year-old. This is great though, because this is the space when Baron is really wet and dirty. I can shut this and I can get him dry, I can get Katarina to job, and the mess doesn't have to come in my house. Okay, so let's come in. First you'll come into my entryway. My house is unique because most houses in Amsterdam are spread over 2 floors. The Dutch used to tax people on the width of their houses, and my house is all on 1 floor. So normally you walk into a Dutch house and there's a wall and staircase here, and then your bedrooms are upstairs, and you kind of have this similar layout. Hi. I love this space. I kind of call it my octopus, because I feel like it's reaching into my whole house. Like I can really see everything from this space. I can see into my living room, my kitchen, our office, dining, our front guest bedroom, and it's all here. So come with me, let's start in my living room. So my living room, my pride and joy. This room is an experience. I'm hoping that we're able to capture it for you on camera. I found this wallpaper. First, I'll go you through my process. It was all gray. Everything was gray. I redid this antique chair in blue. My process. First, this chair was white, and I wanted to do it in a blue velvet. I did this, and from there, I chose the curtains, and everything was white and gray. These curtains are super nice. They're like double thing, although now I kind of changed my mind. And then we went to America, and I was like, I need a wallpaper that will blend in with the curtains. And I had started dealing with Thibaut, and I found this wallpaper, and I was like obsessed. This wallpaper is everything that calls to me. It's got, My favorite color is the background. It's got birds and it's just such an experience. So first I wallpapered it. And the built-in shelves were all still really gray. And it worked because there was gray in here. That was my original plan, that it all would work and I wouldn't have to spend any more money. But I lived with it for a year and I just didn't feel like me. So then I decided I was going to paint in Kyra blue to match the entryway. They came and did the shelves and they did the windows and they did this trim up here, and then the ceiling was just like white. Those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know that at this point the ceiling was just white. And I kept doing this like panel, like do I do the ceiling painted blue? Do I do it in Kyra blue, or do I just go for it and wallpaper it? And I went for it and I wallpapered it, and I just think this room feels like I'm inside of a robin's egg. It's so crazy, but it's also really calm and it's really soothing.
Also, interestingly, when we renovated the house, we hired 2 architects, interior designers. Not gonna blame it on Sarah because I would never do that. But I think she pretty much drained the life out of these guys.
I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I am the boss. And now we come into my kitchen. So I wanted a big American kitchen, which I've never had, even though I'm from the US. My parents never had like a big kitchen, and you know, because you've seen my mom's house tour. And from the time I left my parents' house, I've always lived in apartments and in cities. And so when I got this was originally the dining room. The house ended here on this big line, and it typically goes dining room, and then there was like this tiny little kitchen. So when we did the extension, I was like, I just want the kitchen to be the center of my home. Some things I did that were American is typically in Europe, they only do a 60 centimeter wide refrigerator. So I did 2 refrigerators. So nice. Not very organized because we just had Katarina's party. And then down below, I did 2 freezers. So nice. I only wish I had an ice maker. And then in order to achieve the rest, okay guys, one thing I want to say about European kitchens is you never have like a stainless steel refrigerator. It's always built into the space, and I just think it looks so much more elegant. The other thing I had to fight for was for it to all go up to the ceiling. I was like, I want it to be a statement. And so, you know, I can't really reach these from here, but really it's just like Christmas platters, extra water, things that we don't use all the time. And then we have my iron. When my architects designed my kitchen, it was a brown kitchen with no handles, no details, and this dark brown marble. Also pretty in some settings, but I found this marble in Belgium, and it was the middle of COVID and you couldn't go visit, and I found it from Hertebosch in Belgium, and I messaged them, and then when I found this marble, here you can see a little bit of detail, cutting board. When I found this marble, I changed the color of the cabinets. And then I had seen in Paris at the time, this was early 2020, I had seen this trend of marble going up with this big shelf. And I was like, I know I want to do that. And it was about really kind of creating symmetry in the space. And so we have the 2 refrigerators here. We have this giant thing of gorgeous marble. And then we've recreated the same thing with the cabinet here and like a wine fridge. And so that way I feel like from the kitchen from here to here is like super symmetrical, and I love that. And then the other big thing I wanted was I wanted a big stinking stove. I've always been obsessed with La Cornue, and I will tell you, I have maybe 5 regrets in this home. And the one is they actually make a navy blue stove with gold detailing that I feel like would have perfectly blended into the space. If only my husband would let me buy one now. I wanted everything to be brass. I wanted this beautiful marble, and I don't know if you know it, but if you put your head on marble, you know it's real because it's really cold.
Otherwise, it's not.
Otherwise, it's fake. Again, the house used to stop here. So when we did our renovation, we extended everything out. The dining room was here, the kitchen was there, and now we have like our dining room here, and our coffee and wine nook here, and then all the doors open up to our garden. The only thing is, I don't like this table and chairs, and I want to change it. But let's be honest, I managed to. Oh yeah, while Dragon and I were married, we tried to have kids for a while. We didn't think we could, so we got our big ass bear dog, Baron, who you'll see. And then somehow in 2021, I got pregnant with Katarina, and she's been, the greatest blessing in my life. If you follow me, you know that like I'm obsessed with her.
It has everything which is stinky and
The way Katarina changed my life, in every way, it's a reflection on yourself first. Like the selfishness is gone. All of that is gone, and everybody becomes a parent, understands that. Plain and simple. The best thing.
Karen?
Are you too adorable?
How do you say Pablo en español? How do you say hello?
Hola.
Hola, Katarina. ¿Cómo estás?
I want that cake.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna get you that cake. Goes it right here.
Not here, not here.
Oh, come here.
I want to sit over here.
Welcome to Katarina's room. It's small, but it's purty. I'm actually in the process of kind of redoing this as well. We just extended her room because it was a little too small, even smaller. And the door was in the middle. So now we're having like a custom closet built in with multiple hanging racks and some drawers. And then I think I'm gonna have a bed made. So this will push back and she'll have some more room there. And it's so small, but it's so beautiful. This chair, I actually did this wallpaper before I ever had Katarina. I did this wallpaper, and this was gonna be my office. And when I got pregnant, I was so happy that I got pregnant with a girl because I was able to keep this wallpaper. And then I recently just painted all the trim. I painted all the ceiling. I had this chandelier for a long time, and I just think this whole room is really, really magical. Shh. Ah! Baron! Okay, ready? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and maybe all your wishes will come true.
Sí.
So when we did our renovation, this was a wall that we could not get rid of, this whole wall. And what we decided to do was create a hidden little office nook. Don't judge me, the wallpaper's awful. I'm trying to change it. Come on. So we did these like steel doors, and they were able to, like, the guy who made them, custom made, I had a cutting board from this that I felt like matched my kitchen really well, and he was able to custom. And so they're like swinging doors. So most of the time, to be honest, we have them open. Here we're about to have this bar, like a custom bar built, which I would have to show you guys. And it's gonna be this color cabinets with this color marble, and all of our liquors are gonna go here. And this is gonna have a new wallpaper. My husband works in football, so you can see I tried to make this kind of his. He gets a space. He's got a lot of really amazing.
His cave, no?
Yeah, this is Dragon's kind of cave, although I don't think he ever hangs out in here.
About the office nook in the house, that was supposed to be my sanctuary, my space. She hasn't been happy with it.
This is one of my favorite rooms in the house. I actually designed this whole bathroom. I really wanted this like statement sink, and nobody knew what I was talking about, so I had to do all these like technical drawings, which I didn't know how to do, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out. It's such a beautiful marble, and I love that we repeated it on the floor. And then this is an Arta wallpaper, and my wallpaper guy came. It was the middle of COVID. I didn't think I could get it, and I went to the wallpaper store the day before they permanently closed, and they had 2 rolls of this. And it was a stressful time, but I'm glad we got through it.
Wallpaper. It's become such a part of my everyday life.
Then we've got like some shelves and some pictures. I try to do a few nice memory things, like this is my mom, she was young. And this is a piece of art from when we were in Bruges. This is a piece of art I found antiquing in France. This is a picture of me and one of my best lifelong friends forever, Christiana, in Paris. And then this is like the only room I've properly done art. I'm trying to do art in the rest of my house. But this was my dad's painting that he got when my parents were really young. And we call him the captain. And when my dad passed away, this was the thing I wanted for my mom and dad's house. And I love that he's here in the toilet. My dad would love that. Okay, so when we first did this renovation, this was a small bedroom that ended at that line with another small bedroom and 1 toilet. And one thing I said I wanted was I wanted a suite. I wanted a walk-in closet and a big bathroom, and I wish I had done a bathtub, and I live with this regret every day.
Mon Dieu, Sarah, impossible.
Come on in. I wanted also an American scale bathroom. So I wanted 2 sinks, which is actually very unusual here, and I wanted a giant shower. Okay, come and see this book match marble. So when they came in here and they did the book match marble, I just think it makes like this like really sexy like naked body. I feel like every time I'm in the shower, I'm like washing myself, washing my sexy marble. And my contractor was like, why do you need 2 showers? And I kind of imagined that we would all like, you know, it'd be like sexy time in here, but it's not. Sexy time for Katarina and I, who shower in there all the time. As a family, we travel a lot, so I think the important thing for us is when we come back here, we really want this as a cocoon. And a lot of my design inspiration comes from the travels that Dragon and I do, going to England and going to Switzerland and going to France, and just kind of seeing how they create spaces that are colorful and layered, and that's what I'm trying to do here.
One thing I think we do well together with Sarah is travel. We're very relaxed and laid back, the 2 of us. We just don't make much of a plan and an agenda when we travel. We try to embrace the experience, and I think we have that in common, and that makes our travel quite exciting. And I think for Sarah, having come from obviously the US, having been able to experience so much of Europe, and for me to do that as well, to be honest, it's a great excuse to get to see Europe together. I think it's been really amazing.
This piece I actually had in my New York apartment way back in 2011. I bought this from Restoration Hardware, and it was $1,500. And I saved and I saved, and I went and bought this piece because I wanted something from Restoration Hardware. These pieces we actually got on a trip, I think in 2016 when we went to Bali. And these we got in this tiny little village where the women were hand carving them and hand doing them. Then I just try to put some photos. You know, I saw this thing that you're not supposed to do family photos on walls. There's just supposed to be small pictures. So I'm trying now to add more things. But here's Katarina and I in Vienna. Oh, we loved Vienna. We went with my mom last year for Christmas. And Katarina was at this perfect age. We have all these videos of us like singing in the street. Do a dear female dear. Here is my mom and my sister and I on my wedding day to Dragon. Dragon and I got married in Switzerland 3 months after we met, and we had this like huge event, and I can't even believe now how we pulled it off. Everyone came. We didn't know each other. Everybody was super supportive.
So people often ask me like, you guys got married so quickly, literally in a heartbeat. I call my closest friends and family to let them know that I'm getting married to a girl that they don't know, That's probably the first time they've heard of her. That came as a little bit of a shock. But bizarrely, all of them kind of embraced it, and I think virtually everyone that was invited came to the wedding. I still can't explain it to that day. It's one of those things I think people can try to make sense of, but for me I just still don't have the exact answer to why I did that. It's just pure impulse. Partly, but I think it's something you feel. It's not knowledge, it's feelings. It's being human. I took a gamble, to be honest. I think she did too.
So here's my walk-in closet. I guess I can still kind of twirl in here. It's not massive, but when they brought this closet in, can you guys see the height? Can you see? I just burst out in tears, and I was like, this is a closet made for giant people. Like, I can't reach anything.
The size of it in terms of the height, even for me, and I'm a 6'2" guy, can't reach it.
His feet are so big that all of his shoes are so long. I'm not saying anything other than the fact that his feet are big, but his feet take up so much space that I'm like always shoving his, like, we've kind of got this pull out drawer because his feet are so big, nothing fits. So, there are advantages to big feet, and there are also disadvantages. I need a big old American house for this.
My shoe size, European 49. That's a US 14. C'est pas mal.
Come on in. This is my front bedroom. So when we came back from America, I was like, I wanted a wallpaper that was totally immersive. The room was blue before with a big queen bed, and it was a guest room. And then I thought, oh, I'm gonna move Katarina into this room. So I got this amazing wallpaper from Cole & Son, and then we were in America, so I got this bed from RH. Always chop it, always chop it.
The pillows. Énervant.
This room that we're in is my guest room. This is the room that I put a lot of thought into because this is where my mom stays, and my mom's been through a lot. And so when she's here, I want her to be comfortable. So as we explore this, I'll kind of, show what I've tried to do to make that her space, but also a space that eventually Katarina could grow into.
Here you can see I just painted all the doors, and I think it looks really, really good. I actually had done the curtains and this for my bedroom, and then when I put this wallpaper up, I was like, it's a little bit too much, but I kind of like it. So now this room serves two purposes. When my mom comes, this is where my mom likes to sit. After about 5 p.m., my mom comes in here, and this is like her space. She puts on her show, she sits here, does crosswords or whatever, reads, and I feel like the immersiveness of this wallpaper is so magical with the fact that they're actually on water, and you look out and you're surrounded by trees. It's like the trees become part of it.
Okay, I complain about wallpaper, but at the same time, I think that brings an amount of life in the house, which is amazing. In fact, my mom died 15 years ago now, just past 15 years. And she was all about colors, which I guess was trendy in the 70s and 80s when I grew up. But Sarah is bringing that back, and for me, it's kind of like that journey, sort of back in time, and all the good emotions that brings. I love it because I think, I do think wallpaper, I think colors are important. I think they are part of life, and I think Sarah brings that to the house, and the passion for design and wallpapers has kind of like rubbed on off me a little bit now, and I joke about it, but I love it. I think it's something so nice.
Now I just have to paint the ceiling, and then maybe I'll be happy. No guarantees though. I always have fresh flowers. These are hydrangeas that I recently did. I always have fresh flowers in the house. And these colors have changed my whole palette in here. This is probably my favorite room in the house. And that's why I said my room feels really uninspired, because this room is so great. So yeah, the best thing I love about my house is that I feel like, in European terms, my house, I'm just so over this. The best thing I love about my house is that I feel like in European terms, my house is a pretty good size. But compared to American, I use every room in this house on a daily basis. So I come in here to read or have quiet, and then this room flows into my entryway, which flows into my living room. Hey, Bubba, he's a good boy. He is a good boy. Which flows into my glorious living room. I just troll every time I come into this room. And then that flows into my kitchen and my dining room, which flows into my bedroom. And then the last flow is it flows out into our garden. The biggest problem we have is we bought the house for the garden. So I'm really excited to show you the garden. This is such a unique feature in Amsterdam. But my God, Baron, poor Baron, it's a catwalk out there. There's so many cats, and he loses it. So that's probably my biggest annoyance. I love that we can open up all of these. We just had Katarina's birthday party the other day, and we had everything open, and I think there were 22 kids and 20 adults, and it felt like nothing because we were able to just put everyone out into the garden. We have this giant bounce house here that we get every year. So we moved the trampoline there, and here you can kind of just get an idea of how this space kind of flows here. And in the summer we have our umbrellas open, and in the summer we get full sun a lot of the day, and in the winter we don't. So in the winter you're not going to get as much use, but the garden is the most unique feature of this house, 100%, because again, most houses stop here and go up. So even if people have like a long garden, it typically is just this way and then long. And because our house goes wide, which is really only common on a few streets in Amsterdam. Well, thanks for coming, guys, and I hope you come back soon. And I hope you enjoyed my house tour. It's a little bit different, but I thought it might be interesting to see where I, the host of this show, Toodles! Bye! Pour me a drink. Can you ask them about the wine? Okay, cheers. Cheers. Come on. Come on in.